Hey everybody, my name is Asia and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the end of the year book tag. This is a tag that I forget to do every single year because this is not really a tag to wrap up your yearly reading. It's more of a tag to do in November to talk about the things that you want to wrap up in the end of the year. So I always forget to do it, and literally I'm halfway through December, I'm I should do the end of your book tag. And then I go to look at the questions and I'm like, by the time I post it, there's only going to be a week left in the whole year. So I'm glad that I remembered to do it this year because I don't know, I think I saw someone post it and then I was like, oh yeah, should do that. So it's a really quick, short tag, and so let's just hop straight into the questions. The first one is, are there any books you started this year that you want to finish or that you need to finish? I definitely have a couple to finish this year. So the first one I have is It by Stephen King. I have almost 500 pages through this. I stopped reading it in July. I was supposed to be reading this for a 3-month-long read-along, but I ended up stopping in July when I was supposed to finish up in August. So I still have 600-700 pages left of this to go, but I would love to finish this off because I feel like it'd be such a big accomplishment, and I've invested so much into this. It's not like I've invested 100-200 pages into it. I'm almost 50% of the way through with a 1,200 page book, so I would love to finish this one off. So that's the first one. She's big tome. And then this one is not a singular book, but it is the Mindfuck series. It's another pretty large book, not nearly as close to it, but it's pretty big. I've read 3 of the 5 books, so I would love to finish this off and just complete the series completely in 2022. And then another one that I started is Magnolia Parks. I don't even know how far into this I am because the bookmark fell out. Let me see. So I only got 20 pages into this book, but I know that everybody loves this book and I did start it, so I want to finish it. You know, I think we can see a trend emerging of books that I don't finish, large ones. And the last one that I have is Jade City. I tried to start this book and it literally, I just wasn't absorbing it, so I never finished it, and it scares me because it's fantasy, pretty high fantasy. But I would like to read this as well this year, but I don't know if I'm going to do it because Jade City is the one that I put off the most out of all of these. But you can see they're all pretty large books of varying genres, and that's why I haven't finished them. I have one last book that I don't physically own, and it's Why Do All the Black Kids Sit Together in the Cafeteria? And this is one that I started for my African American psychology class. We only read about half the book because we got behind and we had a wellness day and stuff like that. So to keep us on track, we only read half of it because we really only discussed the book. So it's not really pertinent to finish the whole book, but I would like to finish this book because I really was enjoying what I read of it so far. So I would like to finish it off, and I haven't read much nonfiction this year, so it'd be nice to be able to add one to my tally. Even though this book should not be a tally book, it's a really important book and y'all should definitely read it as well. So the second question is, do you have any autumnal books or books to transition you into the rest of the year? So most of them that I have are on this shelf because I just filmed my TBR and I put a lot of these books on that TBR. The first one that I have is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo because this is Dark Academia, and Dark Academia is perfect for this time of year, and I want to reread this because Hellbent is coming out later. The next one that I have is Corrupt by Penelope Douglas. This one, I know part of it takes place on October. That's why it's called the Devil Night series, because the Devil's Night is Halloween, and so it's definitely a Halloween going into November book, and so this one is definitely a good one to transition as well. And I'm doing a cozy mystery reading vlog, and cozy mysteries to me are some of the most autumnal / cozy season books. This and Dark Academia are it. Those are the prime ones. I feel there's a lot of other genres that fit the season, but cozy mysteries are one of the top genres to fit it. And so another one that I have is Kingdom of the Curse. This one, the Just Check is at my house somewhere, but this one is a urban fantasy historical, which I feel historical works really well for this time of year. Urban fantasy with romance works really well for this time of year, so that one for sure. But I probably read that one in December. It's not on my TBR for November. And then I have Real by Kennedy Ryan. This is the one that I physically own, but Grip is the one that I really want to read before the end of the year, and I just feel hard-hitting romance that makes you cry. Perfect for this time of year. I love it. I'm gonna eat it up.
I thought it was gonna be allergies. Plot twist, it was not allergies. Turns out, depression.
And the last one that I'm going to mention is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn because I feel again, urban fantasy works really, really well for me this time of year. I'm not a high fantasy girly, but I do like a little urban fantasy here or there, and I feel it really does fit really well in fall and winter for me. The next question is there a new release you're still waiting for? And the first one is A Million to One, which comes out December 13th, and this is written by the same author who wrote The Henna Wars, which I absolutely adored. It's one of my favorite YA contemporaries, so I really want to pick up their sequel, even though I think this is like some sort of like Titanic retelling sci-fi. I don't really know what's going on with that book, but I really do want to read more of their work. I also have What You Gonna Do, which comes out December 6th. I don't know a ton about it, but I love the cover, and I do have an arc of it on NetGalley. And then the last one is Anastasia, which comes out December 6th, and this is an Anastasia retelling that we don't really know anything about besides that. That is written by one of my favorite authors, Sophie Lark, and everybody's really anticipating this one because she's been really documenting her journey of her doing a lot of research into the history around Anastasia. So I'm really excited to read this one. And the next question is, what are 3 books that you really want to read before the end of the year? So I'm not going to mention any of these ones that I've already started because this is like their own category, their own question. So I'm going to do books that I have not started yet. So I really want to read Mariana Zapata. I have The Wall of Winnipeg in me out right now from Libby, and it was put on my TBR because of the spinner wheel, so I have that one. I would also really like to get to Legendborn, as I said, because I've been really wanting to read this one since it came out, and I know the girlies eat this one up. Everybody loves this one, so I'm really excited to read this one. And it takes place at UNC Chapel Hill, which is a school that I almost went to. It's super close to me. And then, as I said, I do really want to read a Kennedy Ryan. Grip is the one that I'm being drawn to the most right now, and I'm going to mention a 4th one that is Secrets and Truths by Whitney Hill. This is one that was sent to me by Vina from Miss WOC Reader because she really wants me to read it. And this is about a mixed bounty hunter that's half elven who lives in my city, Raleigh, North Carolina, and has a romance with a vampire. So I would love to read it. Plus, Vina, I've been telling Vina I'm going to read it, and it's not that I don't want to read it. I'm intrigued by the synopsis, the plot. I trust Vina's recommendations, but there's no audiobook. And that's where I've been failing, but I do really want to read it. The next question is there a book that you think is going to shock you and become a 5-star? And so some of the ones that I've already mentioned, Magnolia Parks, this is like everybody's favorite book of the year, so I think it could definitely become my favorite. Also, if I do read Grip by Kennedy Ryan, I think that one could become a favorite for sure, like jump to the very top. That one and Magnolia Parks I feel like are the biggest contenders of jumping to the top of my favorites for the year. Then I also have There Is No Devil by Sophie Lark because I read There Are No Saints and I love that one. It's like top 2 favorite books of the year for me. But this one, I feel like I'm going to include them together regardless on my favorite books of the year, but this one I think could maybe surpass that one. I've seen where people like the first one more, I've seen where this one, people like the second one more, but we'll see. And then I also have They Were Here Before Us, which is a novella told in pieces by Eric LaRocca, and Eric LaRocca always ends up on my favorites of the year list, so this one could definitely end up on my favorites of the year. I don't think it's going to be number 1, but I think it could definitely be up there. And I think most of the books that I mentioned in this video could potentially be candidates, like Legendborn and Secrets and Truths. I feel like I could really love both of those, but I don't know if they're going to become favorites of the year. And then back here I also have Corrupt by Penelope Douglas, which I mentioned earlier, and I think that one could definitely become a favorite. I don't know if it's going to become number 1, but I think it could be like maybe top 10, but we'll see. And so the last question is, have you started making reading plans for the next year? And I actually have not. I have planned out some videos, and I do have on there 12 books to read in 2023 because I did 22 books to read in 2022, and I did my 12 books recommended by 12 friends to read in 12 months challenge. So that alone together was what? That together was 36 books, which I've read a lot of them, but not all of them, and I could have read 36 books. I think it was just ambitious for me to put 22 books on there that I could potentially still be reading in a year's time that I may not be as interested in anymore. So I think that's why I'm going to lower it down to 12. And I'm going to have a harder time because I have been reading a lot and everything, but I haven't been as involved in the book community, like watching content, as I have been before. I feel like romances is something that I've been really slacking on, being up to date with popular romances. And so I feel like I don't really know like a lot of new books. I don't really know what's popular. I have to do a little bit more research to figure out what exactly I want to put on that list. But that's really all that I have planned for the next year because I feel like for the past couple years, ever since I started my booktube channel back up in 2020, I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself to have reading goals for the year and to have reading plans every year, challenges, goals, everything like that. And while I love doing them, I feel like in 2023, I just want to take a little bit more of a break and give myself a chance to mood read more. And I feel like it'll also make me more passionate to make content, because it's not that I'm not passionate to make content, but when I feel like I have to read all these books all the time, I feel like it can take the enjoyment out of it for me just a little bit. And I tend to go into a reading slump and then not read anything. So I'm going to try and mitigate that and not go into a reading slump in 2023 for at least a while. I really wanted this year to not have a month where I read no books, but I did have a month, unfortunately, where I read no books. But in 2023, I'm going to try and make sure that every month that I'm reading, because I'm reading stuff that I actually really, really want to read and not something that I put on a list months prior. So yeah, those are all the questions that I have for this tag. I'm not going to tag anybody because by the time I get this up, who knows when it's gonna be. You know, I could be posting it super late. I don't know. But that's all that I have for this video today. If you made it to the end of this video, put a little mushroom emoji down below because my shirt actually has a mushroom on it. So yeah, and I feel like mushrooms are perfect for autumn. So leave a little mushroom emoji down below if you made it to the end. And that's all that I have for this video today. I will see y'all in my next one. Bye everybody.
Trying to look like you're winning. I'm writing rhymes in the kitchen, soaking in moments we live in, yeah.